All right. What's going on, YouTube, everyone? Got another video that we're going to talk about. Today, in our kind of like just chatting YouTube video style, you know what I mean? Then again, if you're new, I'm Justin. And, just making a video to talk about my thoughts on FF14. And what a perfect place to do it rather than YouTube. To share your thoughts, raw and cut truth, stand on some fucking business. You know what I mean? Today in this FF14 video, of course, you'll be hearing music in the background. You're going to be hearing, hearing music and seeing gameplay most likely in the background. So that's nice. The webcam's kind of shorter, but we are going to be talking about, I guess you could say it's unspoken rule. I don't really know if it is or not, but I really want to talk about tanking and letting the tank and running ahead of the tank, these type of aspects. When you first play FF14, there's a hall novice that really ain't shit. Doesn't really explain things very well, in my opinion. I'll say it. Do it. You get good loot from it in a good ring. But to say that it's good, is really helpful, I think not. Some disagree. If you disagree, leave in the comments. I'd love to hear it. But I think the hall novice could definitely be improved. The new one's a bit better, but still not great. According, at least that's what the community thinks right now. That's according to my research on YouTube. So I think the best way to handle, playing with real people, and say you're a DPS or a healer, and we'll get to being a tank in a minute. You're gonna wanna, as I said, let the tank. That means, yes, I mean, depending on where you're at in the game, tanks are expected to pull wall to wall. What does wall to wall mean? Wall to wall means when you pull everything up to a checkpoint, to my knowledge. But even in ARR content, right now I'm in Shadowbringers, even ARR, Heaven's Word, Stormblood content, a lot of people are expecting to pull wall to wall. In Shadowbringers, I just did a reaction video apparently that is kind of like expected to pull wall to wall. Well, that being the fact, I still say if you're healer or DPS, you should let the tank do what they do. You know what I mean? And communicate. There's literally a text box down there that you can type in the chat, being like, hey, you know what I mean? You might pull a little bigger. I can handle this. Hey, we got this. You know what I mean? Hey, pull a little bit smaller. You'd be surprised what simple, polite communication you can do in FF14 to make the whole run like 1,000 times fucking better. A lot of people don't communicate, and they should in the chat. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason. It's actually disrespectful. Here's my take. It's disrespectful when a DPSs just like run super ahead of the tank because they think it's pulling too small. The tank really does control the flow of the dungeon. I know that's hard to hear. But the tank really does control the flow of the dungeon. And I find it disrespectful if you're just gonna not let him or her do her thing. You know what I mean? And let me touch base here, because I know a lot of people are like, what the fuck? Or maybe you're not. But I'm not talking about a DPS taking a mob to the side and pulling it to the group. That's fine. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone who's really just running ahead and just forcing a giant pull, and the tank's way back here and you're way up here, bro. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It just could ruin the whole experience of tanking. I mean, it's already an anxiety-driven thing, right? Being a tank. But imagine if someone's just rushing the fuck out of you every time. Makes it even worse, right? Not a good experience to have. As far as the healer goes, You can stay in the back when you're tanking, but it's also recommended, and this is something that you may not get until you're a little bit further in the game. If you're brand new, you're probably thinking, hey, well, I don't want to be anywhere near the action because I'm a healer. I don't want to die. Reasonable thought to have. 100% viable, you know, and, you know, makes sense. But eventually, you're going to want to run with the tank. The tank hits sprint, you hit sprint. Reason being, you can keep up. You know what I mean? And you won't be out of range because, you know, your spells as a healer, they have range to them. And you don't want to be too far back because then the full effect of your regans or your group AoE heals won't have the effect on everybody else. So you're going to want to stick with the tank. Personally, like glue, that's what I do it. You know, like he's running right here and I'm running right here. You know what I mean? And we're like hand in hand. So I know when he stops or she stops the aggro and gets the mob, I can immediately start popping my shit and I'm right there with them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's literally the best thing I can say about that is, you know, just don't be an asshole. You know what I mean? Don't rush people. Communicate. And you'll have a much better time at FF14 when you're in playing with real people. The trust system and do support obviously don't apply to this because trust and do support are different. But when it comes to playing real people, I think this is the best way to handle it. You know, be respectful. You know, let the tank do their job. Let them aggro. You know what I mean? You know, if he wants to pull more, he'll pull more. If you want him to pull more, say so in the chat. Say, hey, can you please pull more? Easy. You know, if you're a healer and you want to run ahead, well, don't run too far ahead. You know what I mean? Then you're going to die. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is, I guess it's a mentality that I just learned recently. A spoken rule that if you tank it, if you pull it, you tank it. Excuse me. If you pull it, you tank it. I have never, and I've had DPSs run and pull shit, you know, ahead of me, but I've never let them die. I don't think it's too productive to let the DPS die. Yes, they're frustrated, obviously. They went ahead and they pulled the mob and they're attacking it. But just to like stand there like this and be like, well, you fucking bitch, you know, you pulled it, you tank it, motherfucker. You know what I mean? You should wait it for me. I mean, that could cause a wipe because now you lost the DPS because he died to a bunch of damage. You know what I mean? It's just kind of productive for the run, you know. And then once he dies, you're probably going to wipe or the mob could go slower. I don't think it's right to let people die in FF14. You know what I mean? Unless they're like a repeat offender. Like, say like you said something in chat, right? Like, hey, can you please not do that? You know what I mean? Like, don't pull ahead of me. Or let's all like, hey, like, what are you doing? You know, like that's not really what we should be doing right now. Try to wait for the tank to pull, please. And you're very polite. And then they still do it. Okay, well, fuck him. Fuck them. Then let them die. Don't heal them. Whatever. But like, if it's like a first time and you didn't say anything in chat, then I don't think that you should be doing that. I think that like you should still go in there and try to keep the run going. And hopefully that DPSs will adjust if you talk to them politely, or healer. You know, whoever's pulling ahead, doesn't matter who it is, what role. And yeah, I guess the best way to go about it. So, you know, a little conversation to have about how to play with real people and the tanks and how to show some respect, kind of what not to do. You know what I mean? In general, it's always good to remember that, you know, especially if you don't play tank or healer, you really don't know how it is. You know, so like if say like you don't have any tank or heal leveled up, you never watched the guide, you don't know the fundamentals of taking and healing, then you have no right to be talking or you have no right to talk or judge anybody. You know what I mean? And a lot of players sometimes I think do this where like they don't even have a tank or healer leveled up, but they talk so much shit about them. Or they're mad how they're playing. Well, motherfucker, you don't even have it yourself. So how can you say anything? You know what I mean? That makes no sense. You know what I mean? If you do have the role, I understand, but you just don't know. So just don't be an asshole and just don't say that kind of stuff and just be nice to people. And you have a much better time playing the game. You know what I mean? I understand anger, but yeah, I mean, if you don't play every role, then you really can't talk because you don't know how the other person feels when they're doing it. You don't. You know what I mean? You don't know how it feels to heal or to play a DPS or a tank. If you're a tank, yeah, it's the same for DPS. I mean, you can be a tank, but you just don't have no DPS leveled up. Well, you don't know what their perspective is. You know what I mean? So it's best not to say anything like that. So I think, you know, the best thing to do is just be respectful, communicate, and, you know, not rush the tank, you know, and just use teamwork. You know what I mean? And I think that way the community would be much better off. I mean, the thing about it is, like, there's not many, I don't have too many like incidents where things are really toxic in this game. A couple of times, but most people are very nice and they typically let the tank do what they do. You know what I mean? And that way, you know, or if not, it's a easy communication and it's kind of like politely portrayed, you know. But yeah, that's really what I have to say in this video. You know, kind of like just some friendly talk conversation of realism about how I feel tanks should be treated in aggro and doing dungeon runs in FF14. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised how much a little kindness and communication can go a long way in this game, and either completely defuse a whole aggressive run or make a whole run a lot more better. So keep that in mind. Peace out. Later.